It's been months since I've talked to anyone. The only sound in my apartment now is my keyboard. Even the echo of my typing feels like a conversation. I lost my job last August. The company called it a budget cut, but I knew better. They told me I wasn't a good investment anymore. At first I didn't care. I had savings, my girlfriend, and time to relax for once. We ordered takeout almost every night. I'd stay up late playing games while she slept in the bedroom. Our schedules stopped matching, and soon I barely saw her awake. Days turned into nights. Nights turned into weeks. I stopped checking the calendar. The street outside went quiet, and the old building made strange sounds. Creaks, groans, and the hum of pipes started to blend into my life. It felt like the world outside was fading. When winter came, I barely noticed. The air got colder, but I didn't mind. I just stayed in my room, eating pizza and watching the same glow from my monitor. That glow became my only source of warmth. I don't remember when my girlfriend stopped coming home. At first she'd be gone for a night or two. Then her side of the bed stayed empty. I told myself she'd be back, but deep down, I knew she wasn't. The apartment started to feel heavier. The air turned still. Even the pipes stopped humming. It was like the whole building was holding its breath. Some nights I'd pause my game just to listen. No cars, no voices, no life. The streetlights outside flickered like dying candles. Sometimes I'd stare at them for hours, waiting for one to burn out. Garbage piled up in the kitchen. The smell got worse every day. I kept meaning to take it out, but I couldn't find the energy. When I finally stood up to do it, the silence hit me so hard it felt like pressure in my ears. Even my own footsteps sounded wrong. The windows were frosted over, hiding the city below. When I wiped one clear, all I saw was white. Snow? Nothing but snow. And no footprints anywhere. The smell in the kitchen got too strong to ignore. So one night I tied up the trash bags and headed for the door. Each step in the hallway echoed like a scream. The air felt frozen, sharp enough to sting my throat. I could see my breath, but I didn't feel cold. The building was empty. Every apartment door was shut tight. No TV noise, no music, no one. When I pushed open the front door, a wave of white swallowed me. The streets were buried under thick snow. No tire marks, no footprints, just wind and endless silence. I kept walking, hugging the wall like it could lead me home. After a while, I saw something in the alley. A garbage truck, half buried in ice. Its cab light was on. A clipboard lay inside, covered in frost. I scraped it clean and read the last line. 4 weeks now. Even the radios have gone quiet. I looked out over the snow-covered city, the wind howling through empty windows. It sounded almost alive, whispering through the ice. I stood there a long time listening. It's a lonely thing, realizing you've missed the end of the world. It started when I moved into the house in West Toluca Lake. I bought it in cash, thinking it would feel like a fresh start. The place looked perfect. 1930s Spanish style, old brick, arches, and big willows hanging over the driveway. It felt like something out of an old Hollywood photo. For a while it was good. Quiet mornings, warm afternoons. I worked from home, mostly at my desk near the big window. The street was empty most days, and that was fine by me. I didn't talk much to the neighbors. I didn't really talk to anyone. At night, I'd sit on the porch and listen to the wind move through the trees. It was peaceful. Lonely maybe, but peaceful. The kind of silence that lets you think. I didn't know that silence would start to feel different, heavier, like the air itself was watching me. I didn't notice when it began. Just that something changed. The house didn't feel warm anymore. Even with the lights on, it felt dim, like the walls were holding something in. It started small. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and hear soft sounds in the hall. I told myself it was the house settling, or maybe branches scraping the windows. But the sound had rhythm, footsteps, slow and careful, like someone trying not to be heard. I checked every room more than once. The doors were locked, the windows shut tight. Still, every night the same noise came back, sometimes closer, sometimes faint, like it was moving through the walls. Days felt longer. I stopped writing, stopped eating right. The air in the house turned thick like a cold fog. When my sister called, I told her everything was fine. I didn't want to sound crazy. Then one night I woke up certain someone was in my room. The air pressed down on my chest. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I waited, eyes open, until the feeling passed. But I knew I wasn't alone. It was around 3 in the morning when I saw him for the first time. I had been half asleep, drifting in and out when I got up to use the bathroom. The hallway was dark, the kind of darkness that swallows light. Halfway there I froze. Someone was standing in the hall. His back was to me. He didn't move. His head tilted slightly like he was listening to something I couldn't hear. My throat went dry. For a moment I thought maybe I was dreaming, but then I saw the faint outline of his shoulder rise and fall as he breathed. I stood there trapped between fear and disbelief. The air felt colder near him, heavy like a fog. He started walking away, silent except for the soft drag of his feet on the carpet. I couldn't move until he turned the corner and disappeared. It couldn't have been more than a few seconds, but my body felt locked in place for hours. When I finally moved, I searched every inch of the house. All the doors were still locked. Every window was shut. There was no one there. I didn't sleep after that. The next night I stayed awake watching the door. Around midnight I heard it again, the soft creak of the handle, the slow shift of air as it opened. I shut my eyes and listened. The sound of bare feet on the carpet. Then the faint weight of the mattress dipping at the foot of my bed. I could feel him sitting there. My heart hammered against my ribs. The air felt sharp and cold. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I waited for something to happen, but nothing did. Then just as quietly the pressure lifted. He was gone. After that night I started seeing him everywhere. Sometimes in the corner of my eye, a shadow moving just beyond my sight. Other times he stood in full view, by the window, on the porch, near the kitchen sink, always still, always silent. He'd vanished the moment I blinked. My sister called often, but I stopped answering. I didn't want her to hear how strange my voice had become. Weeks passed and I stopped keeping track of time. The house felt like a cage. I barely ate. I barely slept. I remember the night I finally broke. I had turned off the light and sat on the bed when I felt him behind me. I didn't look. I just knew. The air shifted, the floor creaked, and a cold breath touched the back of my neck. Then the bed jerked hard and I leapt up, slamming the light switch. The room was empty, but the sheets were on the floor, twisted like someone had been thrashing in them. That was the moment I understood. I had to leave. My hands shook as I grabbed my keys and ran. The house felt alive, every shadow pulsing with movement. When I reached the door, I turned once. Through the front window, I saw him standing inside, perfectly still, watching me. Then the curtain moved, and he was gone. I drove until dawn and never went back. It started with a game my mom brought home one weekend. She said it would be fun, something for the three of us to play after dinner. The box said Rap Rat. It looked cheap, colorful, meant for little kids. My brother was excited, but I wasn't. I still remembered how she bought Nightmare last year, and that game had scared me so much I refused to play. Still, I didn't want to ruin his fun. We set up the board on the living room floor. The rules were simple. Move around, collect cheese, first one to the end wins. It reminded me of Mousetrap. My mom put the VHS tape in the player, and the screen flickered to life. At first it seemed normal. Some guy's voice explained how to play step by step. The video felt old, grainy, and a little too quiet. Then Rap Rat appeared. My little brother screamed. Rap Rat didn't look like a rat. Its head was too big, the mouth too wide. Two sharp teeth stuck out, and the eyes were huge, wet, and glassy like a fish. It stared at us through the screen, unblinking. My brother ran out of the room crying, and I couldn't blame him. I told my mom to turn it off, but she said it was just a game. That's when the voice changed. Rap Rat started screaming, "Wait your turn," in a deep, broken tone that didn't sound human. The video started flashing random images. A hornet stinging an eye, a syringe filled with green liquid, a pit full of snakes. I froze. My mom turned the TV off, but the screen stayed lit for a few seconds longer, showing Rap Rat's face staring straight at me. Its lips were moving, but no sound came out. Then silence. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about those eyes, the way they followed me, even when the screen went dark. I told myself it was just my imagination, that it'd forget by morning. But when I woke up, I could swear I heard scratching in the walls. Slow, soft, like something tiny dragging its claws across the wood. I tried to ignore it. Years passed. I moved out, got a job, and forgot about that night. Or at least I thought I had. When my girlfriend and I were packing to move in together, I found it again, the Rap Rat box, same one, same VHS. It was sitting in the back of my closet, covered in dust. I froze. I could still see my name written in kid handwriting on the box side. My girlfriend asked why I looked so pale. I told her everything. She laughed, said it sounded like one of those creepypasta stories. I didn't blame her for not believing me. I barely believed it myself. But when she dared me to prove it, I made the mistake of doing it. I borrowed an old VHS player from my neighbor and played the tape. The same cheerful intro started, but the moment Rap Rat appeared, the screen flickered. The images were different this time. A clown's face twisting, blood spraying from its nose. A woman crying alone in a dark room. A man screaming while holding a burning piece of metal, skin melting from his hand. The scratching came back, louder this time. It wasn't from the walls, it was from the front door. My girlfriend grabbed my arm, whispering that someone was outside. The TV started distorting, showing Rap Rat twitching and jerking like it was alive. Its fur didn't look fake anymore. It looked real, wet and matted. The mouth moved slowly, revealing sharp teeth. The screen cut to static, but I could still see its shape in the noise. It grinned, pointing toward us with one long, bony hand. The scratching turned to thumping, tiny feet running across the floorboards. I stopped the tape, yanked it out, and unplugged everything. The sound stopped instantly. When we looked outside, there was nothing. No one on the porch, no footprints in the dirt. But the police showed up a few minutes later. A neighbor said they saw something moving outside our house. I told them it was fine. I didn't know what else to say. Later that night, I tried to throw the tape away. The plastic burned my hand. It felt like touching a stove. I crushed it with my boots and threw it in the trash. My girlfriend and I barely slept. Every night after that, we'd wake up to the same sound, soft scratching near the door, like it was waiting. Now even if I move somewhere new, I still hear it sometimes. When the house is quiet, when I'm alone. Always around 3:30 in the morning. I don't have to look. I know it's there.